Stop me if this sounds familiar. You've got a really important project, something that's meaningful to you. And every single time you try to start it, you just can't. I'm Liz Moyer, Doctor of Strategic Leadership. As an Air Force officer, I've served in the Pentagon, deployed around the world, and in both joint and special operations communities. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, and I'm here to help. I'm going to go over 3 simple ways for you to overcome that cognitive overload that prevents you from doing something that's actually really important to you. Make sure you stay till the end, and I'll share a resource from the doctors Womack who go over some activities that can help you to really gain that momentum that's important. All right. So I want you to think about something that you've been dreaming about, or maybe you've started but have kept on getting stuck. So the neuroscience literature talks about the 90-day rule. There's a ton of information out there, and I've scoured through it. So in this case, your prefrontal cortex, when you start off with a really big goal and you say, I want to write a book or I want to complete X, your brain kind of turns off. It's so abstract that it feels like a fantasy and it doesn't know where to start. There is a magic number, which is 30 days. And so what I will think about is, okay, something that I'm working on, whether it's personal or professional, can be broken up into that 90-day rule. As an example, I know that I'm in a fellowship where I have to write a large paper. So instead of telling myself I have to write a large paper, I go, okay, month 1, I'll research, create an outline, and really define that problem statement. Phase 2, develop a first draft. And then phase 3, polish that, work with individuals, and get the feedback. It makes me think of the movie The Martian. And Matt Damon says, okay, you solve one problem, and then you solve the next problem, and the next. And eventually, if you solve enough problems, you get to go home. And breaking this into smaller chunks sometimes can still be overwhelming. But if we take the time to do it, often it's what triggers our brain to sit there and go, okay, I've transitioned this from abstract to now something I can do. So do me a favor, pause for a moment and think, what is that project that just feels like it's too big? And think about the next 90 days and how could you break that into 3 sections? Also, if you know someone else who is struggling on the procrastination bus, share this with them and help them. And maybe you can be an accountability partner to each other for you to accomplish something that would be really meaningful. All right. So, tip number 2, the shortcut strategy. Who doesn't love a good shortcut, especially if it works? MIT had studied about 1,000 professionals, and what they found was that an individual who had a mentor was 5 times more likely to accomplish a task and achieve the goals that they had set for themselves. And sometimes we can feel a little bit, I don't know, just jaded because no one has reached out to you to say, hey, I'll be a mentor. I have a great episode with Dr. Sheffy who talks about mentorship. So make sure you check that out. But in general, what we have to remember is that mentorship is a two-way street, and finding someone and searching them out, while you may face some rejection, once you're able to connect with someone who has that experience, who has that resource, it's going to make a huge difference for you. So, what's really important is for you to make sure that in this process, you have made a list of guides, you've made sure they're accessible, you've thought about why you would like to talk to them, and then you've gone to the what and you've gotten really specific. As an example, when I was looking at the structure for my LLC, I reached out to a couple of my friends, and in particular, one individual who had set up 2 businesses. And so one of them was an LLC and the other one was an S Corp. And just in 45 minutes, I was able to, by asking very specific questions, get great insights. And I want to challenge you that often you're not asking specific enough questions. Work with your favorite large language model, whether that's chat, whether that is Claude or Gemini, and sit there and go, okay, how can I ask a more specific question? Don't just say, what were your biggest mistakes, but give them some context and then say, in month 2, what would you have done differently? Or I noticed you use this type of software. What do you like about it? How did you come to that decision to use it? Right. And then finally, we have the legacy filter. I also think about this in terms of the North Star. So take something, get a sticky note, piece of paper, and say, write down this. I want to be known as the person who blank. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds silly, but we need to have that violent agreement internally on what is important to you. When I have written this down, it's changed over time. But right now, I've really been focusing on the concept of I want to be known as the person who helps people with overwhelm. Life is tough as a leader, as a mom, just as a person. And when we are overwhelmed, we're not at our best. And what this does is when I have it written out, it defines my identity, but it helps me to filter decisions. And when I get opportunities, they may be really, really good. I have to take a step back and go, if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? And does it actually affect that bottom line, my legacy filter? And it becomes a for you. So before you leave this video, write this down and have a copy first draft of what you think it is. But this might really help you because maybe the project you've been procrastinating on, you don't need to do. But likewise, it could be something where you are really recognizing the value of it and how important and meaningful it'd be if you could complete it. So I promised that I would give you a momentum toolkit, which is by Dr. Womack's. Really, really helpful. And I will make sure there's a link below. This is what it looks like. It's actually a handout that goes along with the book, Get Momentum. So, love this book. It's very, very hands on and it makes you work through it. It's not something that you just read, you actually have to do exercises with it. But then it has this partner program and becomes a workbook and a journal. And so, let's say you watch this video and you go, you know what? I think the most meaningful thing to me right now is I want to talk to a mentor. I want to avoid some of the mistakes that as I'm working on something that's very difficult and new to me, I want to talk to someone who's done that before. And then I can go through some of the activities that potentially would set me up for success. So I really want to reiterate that sometimes we tell ourselves we need more time and resources, and that is true. But it's not often the reason why, from a neuroscience perspective, our brain is just stuck. It's not getting the momentum and we're procrastinating. A huge part of overcoming the overwhelm in your life is figuring out systems that work with your brain. So do me a favor, pick one strategy and start today. As always, if you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with others.